As somebody that's owned the T1 and the T2 and currently loving the T3 and T4, which I own, this T5 should be something very, very tempting for me, but I'm not entirely sure. It is a cracking camera, don't get me wrong, but do I want to buy it? Now we're testing it with the 30mm 2.8 right now. We've also been testing it with the 150-600 and the 70-300, as well as a few of my personal lenses, 50-140, etc. Yeah, we're going to look at it up close anyway. I'll put some thoughts together. We'll try not to go too crazy with it, because if you've been on the channel long enough, you know we like to keep it real world. So yeah, that's enough waffle and test. I mean, not a bad test. It's probably better than the intro that I did for the 30mm itself. But yeah, anyway, that's that one done. Let's crack on with the rest. There it is then, the brand new T5. Business as usual if you're coming from the T1, 2, 3 and 4. The look and feel, the usability is basically the same. Of course, we're now rocking a 5th generation 40.2 megapixel X-Trans CMOS 5 HR sensor and X processor 5, and yes, they've gone back to the 3-way tilting LCD. Do wish they'd gone with the T100 screen. I think that needs to come to all hybrid cameras, but maybe Sony are going to keep that for themselves, and Fujifilm, I don't know what happened with the T100 screen. Anyway, we've got 7 stops of IBIS in this. The EVF 0.8 times 3.6 million dots. Maximum electronic shutter speed of 1/180,000. We've got 19 film simulation modes, increased battery life, now rated up to 740 frames, but in all honesty, I'm getting double that, and that's with, you know, a bit of chimping, a bit of this and that, you know, boost mode. So very happy with the battery life, absolutely fine. Of course, we've got an improved video capacity now, 6.2K 30p 10-bit. We've still got the 2 card slots there. The thing only weighs 557 grams. It is weather resistant. On this side, we're still rocking the USB-C and the least favorite HDMI. It's the thing that tends to go on my cameras. So it is what it is. And we've got a mic port and remote there. I believe there's a USB adapter if you want to use headphones with that. But yeah, business as usual. This thing, yeah, there's a lot you could talk about specs wise, but we just want to see how it fares. Of all the Fujifilm bodies, this is my favorite for look and feel. The dials are where I need them, and the handling is generally spot on and suits me perfectly. This one is slightly smaller than the T4 that's recording us now. For me, that's a minor win, but if you've got bigger mitts, you might appreciate a grip. You can get a standard grip, but the lack of battery grip is a letdown for portrait shooters. Now, it's not about the battery life itself. That's more than good enough. But the lack of ergonomic controls, you know, in vertical shooting, it's an issue for some. There's no denying that the screen on the T5 is the best choice for stills shooters, and I imagine that the decision to revert to the T3 style, I think that decision was in part a move to separate the T line from the H range. For me, the T4 is much more flexible thanks to the flip out screen than it was limiting. But again, as much as I love shooting with the screen flipped up like that, my T4 is going nowhere for now. High ISO noise is a touch worse in still shooting, but I'm glad to say DxO Pure Raw is helping me out a lot on that front. In video mode, dynamic range is stated at 13 stops, but in stills, it's really only a fraction better than the T4. In fairness, that's still excellent. No huge improvements, but still spot on. The main reason to want this sensor is if you're into cropping, which I'm not. Having said that, I am really enjoying using the improved resolution. It's not a big improvement over the 26, but of course there's a bit more to work with, and I'm more than happy to play with that excellent image quality that extra bit more. Having said that the T5 is more stills oriented, it's still technically a hybrid camera, as almost every modern camera is. And it's worth talking about the improved video thanks to the new sensor and processor. Yes, we're getting 6.2K and 4K HQ, but that comes with a 1.23 times crop. If you're okay with that, then cool. If not, without getting too critical, there isn't really a huge leap in video quality other than the recording limited being lifted, which will be a big deal for some of you. My T4 quality is still excellent. This continues the theme, arguably just a fraction better overall. Nothing huge though, especially when it comes to the autofocus, which we'll talk about next. Okay, for me, there's no real problems with the AF, but for continuous shooting, there's still work to come, hopefully via firmware. I'm on 1.04 at the time of recording, and yeah, it's not perfect. I'm more than happy with face detection. Subject detection is a great upgrade over the previous T-bodies, but I wish there was a way of customizing a function button to be able to switch between subjects, not just turning it on and off. Now, tracking fast-moving subjects, such as with the 150 to 600 that I've got, not a fun experience with this if you're shooting in RAW mode. The buffer speed isn't really set up for that kind of shooting, and that's what the H2S is for, but handle with caution and you'll get the shot. When it comes to the big question, is it worth it? It's always down to what you want, what you can afford, and to a lesser degree, what else is out there that fits your needs and preferences, you know, what feels right, what works best for you. Wex, here where I live, have the body for $16.99 and there's a £90 cashback too. The T range is still my preferred style of body. The dials, the ergonomics suit my style of shooting, and for stills, this is a winner. 40 megapixel resolution, 160 megapixel pixel shift mode, unlimited 4K 60p recording with no crop, 6K 30 with crop, that nice tilt screen. It all makes up for a great choice, unless you want to go full-on hybrid. Now, as I shoot video for this channel and occasionally professionally, the T4 is a more practical hybrid T camera for me. Of all the latest cameras, the H2 is probably my favorite when it comes to hybrid potential, but I still much prefer shooting with the T5 on a day-to-day basis. Having owned the T1, T2, the T3 at the moment, and the T4 2 at the moment, you'd think that I'd be buying this one, but I don't plan to. Though you never know. Maybe at some point it'll take the place of my T3. She's looking kind of nervous still. But really, there's nothing I desperately want that's in this T5 that makes me, you know, really desperate to get out and get it. You know, it's good to break out of this upgrade cycle. We don't need every single latest camera that comes out, do we? Do we? My ideal for work and shooting for this channel would be a H2 Tech EVF in the T5 body. I know this sounds ridiculous. T100 screen, which isn't ridiculous, or the A7 V screen. I'd tweak the custom buttons to allow for quick subject detection, or better yet, implement an option for auto subject detection. I've got other things that I want, like a built-in ND filter, the full HDMI. There's a whole different video for that, and it's kind of boring and daydreamy, and it is what it is. To cut it short, with this one, we're getting brilliant image quality, the lovely Fuji colors, of course, Fujifilm, sorry, they don't like Fuji. The retro styling, the solid practicality, more potential with this new sensor and improved, let's say, autofocus detection options. Now, in our video about the XH2, we asked if your team XH2S, XH2 or T5, one of which appeals to my brain and one to my heart. Obviously, the T5 is the one that appeals to my heart. As a primarily still shooter with a lot of video potential, for me, it's well worth the asking price considering inflation and the like. But yeah, that's my waffle. What about you? Have you used it? Let us know in the comments, and I'll see you there.